Good morning, and thank you for tuning in to Tacoma's Eldercare channel. My name is Bob Michaels, and I'm proud to be your video host. I'm with the downtown Tacoma law firm known as Smith Alling, and for over 30 years we've been here to serve all your eldercare needs. Today's topic is home health care, and we're privileged to have Randy Walden of Heartwarming Care in University Place, Washington. Good morning, Randy.
Good morning, Bob. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Nice to see you. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Sure. My name is Randy Walden. I am the owner of Heartwarming Care. We're located in University Place. We've been in business just a little over 10 years, and it's just been a great journey serving the community. And when I started the business back in 2003, one of the things I wanted to make sure that we do is provide a good community service and always be a contributor to our community, and more importantly, helping out our aging population.
Super. And Randy, how did you get into the healthcare business?
Well, let me give you the short story to that one. My background was 30 years in high-tech sales and marketing, and I had an opportunity to reinvent my whole life, and I wanted to, again, do something where I can have an impact and a change within the community. So I did a lot of research looking at different opportunities, and I either want to do something with kids or the elderly population, and all the pathways led me to doing something in the elder population. So I started a business. We're not a franchise. I started from ground up, from sitting behind a desk doing the creation of the logos and the branding all by myself, and then went through the whole hiring process. So I built a business with one thing in mind, and that's making sure that we have a product and service that exceed the standards of the norm. And we've done that. So even right down to how we go about selecting and hiring our employees is above the norm.
Great. Why don't you describe some of the services that you offer and how those services come to you?
Yeah. The things that we do is, the things that provide a balance for families, and that's what we really want to do. Because you have to look at, typically we'll get a call from an adult child, a daughter or a son, and they got their own careers, they got their own families, and they're struggling is how are we going to provide the day-to-day activity of living chore services, if you will, for mom and dad. And that is having someone to come in to help mom or dad to get up with a bath and do some light housekeeping, prepare meals, making sure they take their medication, have some socialization, take them on appointments or errands, those types of things. Really, that makes a big difference, because what I try to make sure I convey to the family is that when you come visit mom and dad, I don't want you to be the caregiver. I want you to be the children, the son, the daughter, not coming in a caregiving mode, worried about laundry, worried about dishes, making sure mom and dad's got enough to eat. That's our job.
Super. And what are some of your referral bases?
First of all, word of mouth. We get a lot of folks that actually come through our website, because we've got a very good website, heartwarmingcare.com. But we also get it from folks like yourself, the legal field, from elder law attorneys, hospitals, the nursing homes, assisted living, employers. We're a member of the Tacoma Pierce County Chamber, so we get just a little everywhere. There's no real one thing, but I think the most predominant thing that we do get is word of mouth, and it's mostly because our reputation over the 10 years that we have established.
Right. And I do know you have an excellent reputation. I'm sorry, I stumbled on that one, but I do know you have an excellent reputation, and I've heard such good things about how you're able to calm people in a very crisis situation.
Yeah, and that's usually it, is that we get people that are calling in an urgent situation where, mom just got discharged out of the hospital. We don't know what to do. I have to go. I got a job I have to do. How am I going to handle that? We just need to. And sometimes it's just really make that transition to help someone for that 72-hour window as soon as they get out of the home, so they can get acclimated back in, make sure that the medications are taking effect. And sometimes our service is just that. It's just a 72-hour window. On the other extreme, it could be getting involved in hospice support, where someone is now going into hospice. Family can't be there. There's very limited that they're going to get out of the hospice community. They can have someone do a sitting service for a little bit. But how do we help them through that whole transition through the end of life? So we provide that support and resources to make sure that we can really take them through there, provide some education so they can understand and what the expectations are during this time. And this is a very difficult time.
It sure is. And And I understand that you can take people through quickly because, as we talked about in crisis modes, we don't have a lot of time quite often.
No.
And decisions have to be made quickly, and the decisions have to be made correctly, and that's where professionals such as yourself really assist. Tell us a little bit about your staffing. If I were to call in there today, who would I be speaking with? And
right now, you will be speaking with me. I'm a very different kind of guy. I build systems to run a lot of different things because my background is you don't need a lot of overhead to run things. If you got systems in place and you're running efficiencies, you don't really need a lot of things. I'm still involved in the day-to-day activities. We do have a marketer that goes out and do those nice warm touches. But I still like to handle that client relationship because at the end of the day, it's my business, and I want the families to feel secure. So when people get the call, they're going to talk to me, and I will tell you, this is something unusual that we do. We have no voicemail. We have no answer machine. I know that sounds weird and strange nowadays, but you got to go do push 1, 2, 3 button. We don't have any of those things. You're going to get a live person 24 hours a day to talk to you. And more importantly, if you really need to talk with me, if it's dinner time, I'll take your call. That's just the way I've always had the business run, because you talk about crisis mode, somebody don't want to get an answer machine on a Sunday evening and mom's being discharged Monday morning. They want to talk to a person and get action. So that's what we do. But the most thing that I'm really proud of is our selection process of how we go about getting our employees. We don't have a lot. I'll tell folks right up, we don't have a lot. But what we do have is what I've gotten the best of the best out there. And what we do is that when people come and looking for employment for us, first of all, we're looking for certified nurses assistants. We want people to have at least a minimum of 1 year of experience that we can track, we can actually verify. And of course, since we are licensed and bonded by the state, we have to kind of go through a lot of different things and all of that. So we have those, that's kind of the barrier entry. But where we take it to the next level is that when we're talking to that person on the phone, we're kind of gauging if this person wants to do. Then we send them to an online assessment. This online assessment is very unique. It's going to highlight if this person's going to meet our standards. And for us to even take them to the next level, to bring them in to fill out an 8-page employment application, not 1 or 2, 8-page employment application, they have to fall into 2 categories. They have to be a very good candidate or an excellent. Good or less does not work for us. They may work for some other company, but not in our organization. Then we bring them in, we test them again one more time to see if they know what the skills and things that they can do. Fill out the 8-page application. Now we actually have a real interview process. After that, then we go and do all the backgrounds and reference checks, and if all of those things happen, they come on board. We have very low turnover within our staff. We have a lot of caregivers that's been with us now that's pushing 3, 5, some even 8 years with the company. Mm-hmm. So we don't turn over a lot. Usually if we turn them over, it's either some military spouse that's being redeployed somewhere, transferring out. Pregnancies are my worst. No problem with that. But they do get pregnant, and so I have to, hopefully they'll come back. But we really manage a very tight ship, and we take care of our employees. We pay them well. But most importantly, what I like to do, and I think what they appreciate, I treat them like professionals, which they are.
Oh, super. If you had 2 tips to give to prospective clients calling in, what would those 2 tips be?
Plan early. Plan early. I know it's a crisis mode, but once you have to do planning, because in home care, I kind of look at there's rungs on the ladder. I'm down here. I can only keep them at home for so long, because our job is to keep them there as safe as long as possible, because that's what people want to do. They want to remain independent as long as possible. But you got to start exploring what your other options are, and particularly those that are their family members suffering from Alzheimer's or dementia. I tell them, start looking now. Look and see what other assisted living, adult family homes, what are the other options when home is no longer a safe option for them. Because you may find a place and you have to be on a waiting list. And I say, get on that waiting list. If you come to the top, easy to go back down. But when you're in crisis mode and all of a sudden they're sundowning and the dementia is really getting bad, you can't keep them. They want to exit seat out of the home. What do? You can't keep them there. and you can't afford to pay for 24-hour care 7 days a week. It gets very expensive. So now your options are going to be very limited. You may end up placing mom and dad in a place that's not desirable, not even what you want. So you need to start planning for this, even if it's just planning for assisted living. You want to go out and take time, inspect these things while you got time. There's no pressure.
Right. And I'll add to that. Within my practice as an elder law lawyer, we put those into two camps. That is the pre-planning, which Randy is just referring to, which is the preferred route. And then we have the crisis mode. And of course, crisis modes are real, and we have to deal with those. But to the extent we can get into the pre-planning, that's the way to go. From a legal perspective, in addition to getting a head start on some of your care placement options and your care decision options, it's just so important to have the proper legal documents in place.
Right.
For example, if you have a daughter or a son that might really need to be active because of a particular condition, you want to make sure you have your power of attorneys and your wills and those things in place. And without that, it creates all kinds of confusions with guardianships and things where you just really want to steer clear. So I really like your tip as far as getting a head start, pre-planning as early as possible, not only with people like Randy, but with your Eldercare attorneys as well, because, and we work together quite often on in conjunction with each other, because those are the things in the pre-planning mode that need to be addressed. We do address those in the crisis mode as well, but it's much more difficult when someone's laying in a hospital bed to have the discussions that really need to take place.
Yeah.
Well, Randy, why don't you once again tell people how to get a hold of you?
Okay. You get a hold of us via the web. We love the web. Heartwarmingcare.com. Or you can call us locally at 253-460-1574. Or you can reach me on email, randy@heartwarmingcare.com. You can Google Randy Walden out there, Heartwarming Care. You'll find all the information about our company. We're pretty transparent about what we do. Love to chat with you. And that's the other thing is, when people engage with me, I'll be upfront. If I cannot help them, I will get them to the right resource. Many times people call and like, for an example, and we didn't talk about this, is what types of pay that I take. We're private pay. The only insurance that we take is long-term care insurance. So if someone's coming to me and their mom and dad are on Medicaid or the COPES program, I'm going to have to refer you to someone else because we're not part of that program. So those types of things, or if I see a situation where home care is really not fit for us, you really need home health, which that's a different, or you may really need to consider a facility, or you may need legal services. So that's my job, is to educate, inform, because I tell folks I may not be the right fit. And even when I come out to do a one-on-one assessment, that assessment is for me to interview you, you to interview me. We want to make sure that this is the right fit because it's got to work at the end of the day.
Thank you. Well, as you can tell, we're very blessed to have Randy with us today, and he has an immense amount of information to share. Please feel free to call Randy with any questions that you have, or feel free to call us at 253-627-1091. Well, thank you, Randy.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate
and
it.
We'll be in touch. Thank you very much.